This week we are living with the new 2025 BMW M5, the latest G90 generation M5, a car that was ruthlessly fat-shamed when it first came out, mercilessly bullied online because it's gotten heavy, quite heavy, over 1,000 pounds heavier than the previous generation with a curb weight of nearly 5,400 pounds. Yes, I know it's heavier than a Chevy Tahoe, it is heavier than a Ford F-150, but these days, everything is really heavy. An Audi RS7, which is not even a plug-in hybrid like this new M5, has a curb weight of essentially 5,000 pounds. The Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid with a similar powertrain layout is a similar weight. So was it fair? Has the M5 been treated fairly? Yes or no? We're gonna find out. Here's the thing though. On paper, because the M5 is so much heavier, even though it is also a lot more powerful, it's technically slower than the previous generation on paper. And that gave the internet commenters so much ammunition. Oh, BMW has lost its way. The M5 has been ruined. They don't know what they're doing anymore. But here's the thing. I think BMW knows what their M5 owners, their clientele, their target audience is actually using their cars for. This is no longer supposed to be a dedicated, focused, nimble driver's car like the previous generation of the M5. You look back to the E39s, even the E60. As we advance towards the modern day M5, these things have just moved towards being luxury rocket ships. And I really do think the buyers of these cars are still going to be plenty happy with their M5s, but we're going to find out what it's like to live with. We'll talk about the exterior, the interior, the powertrain, the technology, how it drives, and how it integrates to day-to-day life. Beautiful sunset this evening as we finish up some photos and videos of the M5. This one here is finished in BMW individual Santorini blue, which is a really cool shade of blue. Big fan here. And check out the interior spec. It's a quite bold one. We have the orange and black leather, which is a really interesting color combination with the BMW individual paint. This blue, I really like. I'm partial to a blue, and in the golden hour lighting tonight, it looks quite nice. You can see some of the lighting up front. We have the illuminated kidney grills, the new headlight styling, and then we'll take a quick look around back. Got the lights on to get some cool shots as the sun is setting. And with that, we're gonna hop in, go try and pick up some sushi. It's closing. The restaurant is closing soon. And Angel's on her way home, so gotta go get some food. We're gonna turn this vlog into a nature documentary. There's two giant wild turkeys over there. Holy crap. Hello, turkey. Say hello to the M5. It's getting dark out now, so you can see that interior ambient lighting. But watch this. If I go to M mode and go over to Sport, it changes into the BMW M colors. It's got like an animation too, and then we have the M colors right there, which is really cool. They definitely make sure you do not forget that you are in an M5. There are little MQs all over this interior. M logo there, M logo there, the M stitching on the seat belts, on the actual seats themselves. Yeah, there's a lot here to remind you that you are in the M5. This is also a new kind of experience in an M5. Electric mode. It is in pure EV mode right now. But if I want the V8, let me just press M1 and the V8 fires up. Beautiful day today, and we're going to be spending some quality time with the M5. Unlocks when it senses you approach with the key in your pocket. Welcome sequence. Again, a lot of M logos. And ooh, that matches the spec of the car. They do such a good job with those little details, even when you do a BMW individual finish. Start, stop. And it starts up. in all-electric mode. We have the latest BMW iDrive system. I believe it's 8.5. CarPlay loaded up. I like this latest iDrive system with the infotainment screen here in the middle, and then the full digital cluster. It's like this big curved display that a lot of modern cars have. We're going to be heading to my friend John's house to show him the new M5 because he has a new M5 touring on order and he has not seen or experienced the M5 yet. So we'll let him go check it out. Into drive, and away we go in smooth electric silence. Yeah, the little the rocks and gravel that the tires are picking up are louder than the actual car. That's cool. The car is warning me that there is an uneven surface ahead. It's these railroad tracks, so yes, that is definitely uneven, and you're gonna want to slow down. Say hello to your future.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, you?
No, not me, the car.
Okay,
Just imagine a roof line's a little more that way. This lower grill area is enormously open. That's all cooling. You see all the radiators here, and you could just, like, I feel like I could stick my head in here.
Yeah, do you remember the old Shelby GT500 with that like big open gap in the front?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. There's like nothing here.
Pretty crazy. Usually they have like, I mean, there is a plastic shield here so you don't chip up your radiator too bad. I mean, there are some little rock strikes in there. But then also you have, these are smaller up here, but the amount of like space here, like I could put my entire hand.
Well, look. Okay, so look at this flat surface. You see all the little pebbles in there?
Yes, it is collecting gravel.
Imagine going for a drive in the fall. You're just gonna collect a ton of leaves in here.
That's true. You don't even have a leaf blower to blow out the front of your M5.
We have a dog visit. Hey, hello, Juno.
Hello.
It's neighbor's dog.
Do you like the M5? Hi.
Yeah, this thing is gonna be a leaf. This thing is gonna be a leaf.
It's gonna just inhale leaves.
Yeah, I will say this. I like it from the front end. On the sedan, not so much from the rear end, but the wagon looks a lot better in the back.
It looks like, I've been describing it, you know, you see a picture of like a chipmunk with his cheeks just stuffed full of like nuts as it's preparing for the winter. Yeah. That's what it reminds me of, like right here, this area, and then same thing out back, right? It just like expands because this is 1.9 inches wider overall width than the regular 5 Series and it's 3 inches wider up front.
People say this reminds me of the Accord too.
What?
Yeah.
That doesn't say very good things about.
I've heard that this styling-wise, I've heard people say it reminds them of the Honda Accord.
But doesn't the Honda Accord kind of look like an A7 now?
A little bit,
like a poor man's A7?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, those are also probably people saying your future Purosangue looks like a Mazda CX-5, which they're not technically wrong, right?
Right.
If you're ever wondering what a BMW G90 M5 owner also has in the garage, well, let's check out John. So he's got an S65 AMG here, the Kia Carnival, that's for the wife and the kid, and then Huracan Sterrato, not pictured, GT Black Series, the GR Corollas up front. What else?
E92 Lime Rock Park.
Z06 has been sold.
Z06 is sold. Rolls Royce Dawn.
Oh yes, you just picked up a Dawn. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. And what else? I have an X5 down in Florida, but we don't need to talk
And there's some Ferraris on order.
There might be a couple for
maybe. Anyways.
And the ZR1, but we won't talk about that.
It's going to be extra interesting because you also have a Defender Octa coming, which is a BMW V8.
Being built pretty much around exactly the same time.
So you have both of those coming at the same time.
Yes.
And we at one point deliberated, does it make sense to keep both, pick one or the other?
Yeah.
And you're keeping both.
I am. I like the M5. It's definitely its own thing, you know. Yeah.
Nothing like the M5 CS that you used to have.
No, it's very different. Well, okay. It's different, but it's also not. You know, some of the engine is very familiar. You know, like I could definitely tell it's the same underlying 4.4 BMW.
Okay.
And kind of like the M5 tune. It's definitely heavier. Yeah, but it needs a Venturi intake and it needs an M Performance exhaust to really get the
wake it up, make a little. It is very, very quiet.
Yeah, and you're overwhelmed by the fake noise.
Yeah, you don't like that.
No.
And you are trading the S60. S65 is going away for the M5. Right?
Yes, unless you want to buy it to do filming with.
I can afford the wheel. Not all 4 wheels. I can afford 1 wheel.
1 wheel.
Yes, okay. I'll take the front left. Let's talk about the powertrain of the new G90 M5. So this thing is way more powerful than the previous generation M5 because it is now a plug-in hybrid. So total system output is 717 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. Now we still have a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8, the S68. On its own, that will make 577 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. That is then supplemented by the electric motor that's actually integrated into the 8-speed automatic transmission for that total power output. Now, this is all-wheel drive, MX drive, which is fully variable. It can send all the power to the rear wheels if you want, rear-wheel drive, drift mode, shenanigans. And BMW says it can do 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, which is pretty quick until you look at the previous generation M5 competition, which BMW said would do 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. So even though it's so much more powerful, because it's so much heavier, it's technically slower on paper. Now, you can drive this in all-electric mode. It has a 14.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which leads to about 25 miles of all-electric range. You can either plug it in to charge, or you can use the engine to recharge. And when properly equipped, it will do 190 miles an hour. Let's take an exterior tour of the new M5. So this one is finished in BMW individual Santorini blue, which is quite a cool shade of blue. It definitely attracts attention. I was in a downtown area earlier and it was turning heads, partially because it's bright freaking blue, but also because as an M5, this looks much more aggressive than a regular 5 Series. It's 3 inches wider up front with unique fenders here, and then you can see how the rear wheel arches flare out here, 1.9 inches wider than a regular 5 Series. We also have staggered wheels. Out back, we have 21-inch wheels with 295 tires. Up front, they are 20-inch wheels with 285s, the new Michelin PSS 5s, and I like you actually still have a good amount of tire sidewall. This one has the optional carbon ceramic brakes. We have the gold brake calipers. There's the charging port. And then up front as an M5, it has to look much more aggressive. We have these massive openings in the lower fascia for airflow and cooling. We still have regular-ish size kidney grills, and this one has the optional illumination around the edge, all blacked out with the M5 logo there. They've also updated the headlight DRL styling. Instead of a full circle or hexagon-ish shaped design, it's like these angled slashes, which just looks nice and aggressive. The looks of this M5 have definitely grown on me, especially in a very cool BMW individual color here. I think as a regular base M5, it looks more aggressive than the previous generation's regular base M5. We have the carbon fiber side view mirrors with that little wing there for the M models. This one has the full carbon roof too. You can option a glass roof, but this one has the carbon one. It's got like this indent right here that matches the look of the hood. We have flush door handles, and then the Hofmeister kink has a M5 logo embossed there. It's all blacked out, so it's relatively subtle back here. And then coming to the rear, the new tail lights. We have a carbon fiber lip back here in a really, really aggressive looking rear diffuser, especially in a lighter contrast color. It stands out with those quad exhaust tips. It looks pretty aggressive. And for this generation, we now have it available as a touring, finally. So the wagon shape out back, but this one obviously is the sedan. It just looks so wide and girthy, and it definitely has a lot of presence in terms of the new styling. What do you guys think? Do you like the look of the new G90 M5? I have a pretty fun errand to go run. I have a new custom suit we ordered a couple weeks ago to go try on and pick up, and then a couple other things to handle. And then tonight we're going to my good friend Josefa's surprise birthday party. So out and about all day with the M5. I have burned through half a tank of gas already. We have half a tank remaining, and it's telling me 111 miles to empty. So it may be hybridized, a plug-in hybrid, but this thing is still not efficient. Yeah, you still have to pay the gas guzzler tax with the new M5, which I find a little bit amusingly ironic, right? I think the reason that they did the plug-in hybrid change with such a big battery pack to get you that 25-ish miles of electric range is because of the European regulations. There's so many places in Europe now, like city centers, where you can't go into town unless you have all electric. So they need to give the buyers of these cars a usable EV range, which then means they need to give it a bigger battery pack, which then means it gets heavier, which then means they give it even more power to make sure it's still fast because it's so much heavier. But then your fuel economy is not great anyways. Like, when the battery depletes, right? This thing is, now the twin turbo V8 is lugging around 5,400 pounds because of the battery that doesn't have any range left in it, or it's recharging it. So you still pay gas guzzler tax. So if you're trying to buy the new M5 to save gas money, don't do it. But if you're buying a new M5 and you're worried about gas money, maybe reevaluate some of the financial decisions you're making. You know you picked a good tailor when he drives a Raptor R. That's a pretty cool daily driver for Michigan. And then there's no park. You just put the parking brake on, turn it off, and you're good to go. You know what's a little bit alarming? That Raptor R only weighs 600 pounds more than this M5. A Raptor R. Oh boy. Batteries are certainly very heavy. I am a big fan of this new Gen M5 at night inside. The ambient lighting is very, very cool. And if I go back here, let's see. Let me go home. And no, here. Color. We can go flamingo. Wow, pink. Papaya. Cue McLaren noises. But watch this. So if I go to M mode, into sport, there we go. The BMW M colors in the cockpit at night. That's pretty cool. We do have some driver assistance tech, but it's not hands-free. You have to keep a hand on the wheel, but it will help you perform a lane change. So you just indicate to keep your hand on the wheel. It does the lane change for you, and then keep on driving. This is what it looks like when you unlock your new M5 at night. So the illuminated kidney grills light up, the headlights have a little bit of a welcome dance there, and then we have the M puddle lamp. You see the M logo right there. And then there's like some motion with these 3 lines going out there. That's pretty cool. And you can really see that orange leather interior all lit up. Go ahead and open the door, and the welcome sequence continues. You have an animation on the main screen. Oh, did you catch that? It's got like an animated sequence along the light bar too. That's pretty cool. Really adds some theater and fun to the welcome unlock process as you get in your new BMW M5. Let's give this thing some revs. Needs an exhaust. It's way too quiet. Let's take a quick tour of the new M5 interior. So we have the double curved screens here. This is a 14.9-inch infotainment screen, and then the 12.3-inch digital cluster. You can change the look of the middle screen here. So if I go to M mode, I'll hit Sport. So that changes the way this cluster looks, which is pretty cool. Also, going to sport mode makes the interior lighting into the M colors. You can change that independently too. But let me go back and go to the road mode. And the center area, you can change what you want it to show. So the content can go to your vehicle setup settings. We can go to navigation, route preview. There's the augmented view with the front camera. We have driver assistant view here, and then trip data. And there's like a reduced simple view. So lots of customization. That is really the theme on the inside of the M5. There's so much you can customize. Just take a look at the driving setup here, right? So drivetrain, energy recovery, that's your regen braking, drive logic, your transmission, your chassis, your dampers, steering, brake, X-Drive, your all-wheel drive system, and your exhaust sound. If you multiply out all the possible variations of this, you get 1,944 possible different configurations for your vehicle setup. That's insane, right? Because you just multiply them all out. So you have your M1 and M2 configurations, which you can easily access here on the steering wheel. That's been a cool thing that BMW M cars have offered. We have the carbon fiber paddles. Are they carbon, actually? They don't look, actually, I'm not sure. They have this like textured rubber on it. They don't have a carbon weave to it. But anyways, we have the shift paddles here on the steering wheel. Nice girthy, thick steering wheel, flat bottom here with the M and logo. And then this is cool. I like this little design element on these 2 parts of the steering wheel. We have a heads-up display, which is actually a pretty big heads-up display there. And then what else to show? The carbon trim. That's pretty cool. It's an interesting weave pattern across the interior. We have the M logo here in this glass look rotating dial for your iDrive system. And then I like the texture too. It's like a crystal-like appearance. So I think they did a really good job with this interior. We have cup holders, wireless phone charger. There's another pad there for another phone so they don't fly around. I've driven aggressively and my phone has not gone flying, which is good. The air vents are all that minimalistic look. So like you use these to move them around, but the air vents are hidden. So like that port right there is for that air vent control, which is pretty cool. And the seats are pretty comfortable. A nice balance of bolstering, but still not like unreasonable. Like the M5 CS, because of the CS model, has the crazy carbon buckets, which look really cool, but after like 3 hours in it, they hurt so much. These are still kind of normal M5 seats in the orange leather, orange and black. That'll light up at night. We have the carbon roof on this one. You can have it with the glass roof, but the carbon roof lowers weight, and obviously then you don't have the glass roof anymore. So this one has the carbon roof with the Alcantara across everything. I've got plenty of headroom and space. I like this interior. Like, it's grown on me a lot. I liked it when I spent time with the newest 5 Series. Like, ooh, this will be probably nice M-ified. And they definitely make sure you remember you're in an M. If you open the door, M5, right? Like, they're not gonna make you. They're gonna make sure you do not forget you're in an M5. I am putting my driver's seat into the position I would sit in to drive. And now second row space. Nope, it's locked. So you only have keyless entry for the front ones. All right. What is this like as a 6'3" adult in the back? Oh yeah, look, it's an M, in case you forget. Whoa, I actually haven't been back here yet. So we have heated seats on a touch panel. And USB-C ports here, okay. I mean, that's probably the benefit of the M5 getting so much bigger. I have great headroom in the second row. My legroom is pretty good too. I am 6'3" and I fit back here as an adult. Now, it's not a 7 Series, obviously, but, you know, this is not terrible. And if you want even more space, you get the Touring, and it's a wagon. But that's not bad. All right. There we go. Also, trunk space. You can kick under the rear bumper, and the trunk will open. It's decently practical. They have these cutouts on either side here that do eat into the space slightly, but it's fairly deep. Some charging stock. We've got my backpack, a lunchbox in here. So it's practical enough, and if you need more space, we now get the M5 Touring, the wagon. So that obviously has even more cargo capacity, so we can finally order ourselves an M5 Touring if you need more space. Let's go for a drive in the M5. So we start off in electric mode. We have a pure EV driving mode. It's supposed to be around 25 miles of range, but we have a twin turbo V8, so let's fire that up. If we go here to the M hybrid control here, you can select hybrid, the V8 fires up, and now we're getting power from both the engine and the batteries. But let's step up to even sportier. Let's go into M1 mode. Check out our configurations here. You can customize all of these various settings. I have suspension, the chassis still in the most comfortable mode because we're on real world streets. So let's go into M2 mode. We're clear. Foot hard on the brake. Floor it. Launch control. Oh. That's pretty dang quick. So we're currently in M2, which is set to quite a bit sportier. But in terms of the dynamics, once you get into the turns, this car is still very isolated and numb. You feel the size and the weight. There's only so much the engineers are able to do because at a certain point, physics is still going to exert itself on the car, right? There's no masking that completely. They did a very good job making this still a very, very capable car, but when you go over some bumps, you can kind of feel the mass of the car through the turns. Definitely when you're on the brakes, there is still the size and you cannot get away from that. But even more so on top of that, it does feel rather numb and isolated. I don't really get much communication from the steering at all. It feels rather artificial waiting at times. There's no communication through the seat, through my butt at all while I'm driving this. It's just this isolated cocoon of rocket ship levels of speed. I mean, they did as much as they could to make this thing drive well. I mean, it's really, really fast and still extremely capable. It has things like rear wheel steering up to 1.5 degrees that can really help make the car feel a bit more maneuverable. You have essentially every single possible piece of technology to make this thing drive, handle, ride, do everything well, right? We have adaptive dampers, we have advanced fancy traction control system. Yeah, you feel some of that size doing that. This is a relentless amount of power, but it also is just still so isolated. I mean, I get up to ridiculous speeds so quickly, but it doesn't feel like it. It's such a big departure in character from what the M5 started as, but that, to me, it makes sense as the times have evolved. Everything is getting bigger and heavier, and the ways people use these cars has also changed. Most of the people I know who own M5s, including M5 competitions, when they're buying them new, it's a daily driver. And they're commuting to work with them. They're not going to the track with these cars. They're not hitting curvy canyon mountain roads, right? Back roads per se. If they do, it's still plenty capable and fast, and it can handle it, but the buyer of this car isn't really using it for that. And they're so expensive now. Most of the people I know who buy cars like this new, they have another dedicated sports car, supercar, or track toy. They have a GT3 RS, a GT Black Series. They own Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and this is like their super powerful, prestigious, comfortable, but still insanely fast daily driver that they know they could have some fun with, but they don't need it to be the sports sedan anymore. Older generations, an E39 M5, that was like a sports car that just happened to have 4 doors, right? It's a sporty sedan, a proper driver's car, lightweight, engaging, fun. But as we've gone through these generations, they started to become more numb and just a luxury rocket ship. The buyers just want it crammed full of technology, comfort, more and more power, more of everything, more speakers, more massage seats. Well, actually, this one doesn't have that, but I'm illustrating the point of just how everything is getting more and more. And we're losing that original soul, and it's evolved. Honestly, the M3 kind of fills that role now, right? The M3 is pretty dang good. I don't like the way they look, but they drive very nice. And then we have the competition models and the CS model. So I'm really interested to see where they take this, because the previous gen M5 CS is one of my favorite M cars. It's amazing to drive. It handles well. But in terms of being a daily driver, I did not like the M5 CS. It was too firm, too race car for a luxury sedan. The carbon buckets are cool, but after like 3 hours in it, my legs hurt, my back hurts, everything hurts. I need to call my chiropractor, right? That was just a showcase of what they can still do with this platform. So it'll be interesting to see what the G90 generation gets when they do a competition and a CS version. If you still want that really like nimble, the traditional pure driver's car, the ultimate driving machine M car, you have to go to the smaller ones of the segment now, right? So the M2, like the previous generation M2 CS, also fantastic, loved it. The M3, we're getting an M3 CS, although they're doing a touring. Are we getting that I don't think we're getting that in America, but M3 competition, having driven an M3, M4 X-Drive comp on the track, they are still stupendously capable. We're just having an evolution and a change. But if you look at the competitors in this space, who still exists in this space? Mercedes has not given us an E63. Audi, we have the RS6, RS7 Performance. Those are non-hybrid, still essentially 5,000 pounds. Well, they're mild hybrid, but not a plug-in hybrid like this one. And they also feel just enormous. I did not replace my 2016 RS7 with a new gen C8, RS6, or RS7 because it just felt so big and heavy to me. I was like, after driving the RS6, I'm like, if I want this, I might as well just get the RSQ8 because it already feels like an SUV to me, right? It was so huge on 22-inch wheels. So if I had to pick between actually a RS6 Avant, RS7, and this M5, I think I'd go for the M5 as a daily driver, genuinely, because for essentially the same price, you just get more of everything. You have more flexibility with the hybrid system, right? You want to drive in electric mode if you need a short commute or you don't want to wake up your household or your neighbors. You can leave. You have the power, the silly amounts of power. It's actually, I think, not too firm. It's decently comfortable on our pretty abysmal Michigan roads. You just get more for your money, and I've grown to like it. I think this thing was definitely unfairly hated when it first came out. And I definitely was shocked at the weight figures and things like that. I'm like, why? How can they make it slower than the previous generation. They're going in the wrong direction. And in certain ways, it's valid. In certain ways, it is going in a direction that's counter to what the M5 stood for and what enthusiasts always wanted and liked. But this is also kind of natural evolution. When you're driving this thing around town as a regular daily driver, it just feels effortless. That enormous plateau of torque. I would love to see the torque curve from one of the dyno runs that people have done in these cars, because it has to just be flat, because it feels like that. It hits the peak torque and just carries it through, and there's just relentless wave of power when you're rolling. So if I live somewhere like where I do, Michigan, the Midwest, inclement weather, we don't have amazing driving roads around here. I'm not in Southern California or up in the mountains. This is something I would get to daily drive, because we have all-wheel drive. It's got plenty of comfort, luxury technology. It's still an M5, and it's just so fast. It'll just be a fantastic daily driver. Bomb down the freeway. Like, I actually think I would consider getting one of these as a daily driver. And I'm happy that they've updated the powertrain from my perspective from the XM label. When I drove an XM label last year, it has a similar setup, right? A hybrid, twin-turbo V8. There were a lot of rough moments. The exchange between gas, electric, the hybrid kind of handoff. There were some rough instances, and I did not like the XM label. I was very much not a fan. It was too firm. It was an SUV. It was extremely expensive. And I was like, if you want a fast BMW SUV, the X5M competition drives way better and honestly was like just as quick. And if you wanted something more comfortable, big, I would go for like the Alpina XB7 if you're spending that kind of money. So the XM label to me was just a little bit confusing. And I was worried. I was very worried. I'm like, oh, this is probably what's going in the new gen M5, because we knew it was going to be a plug-in hybrid. That was confirmed at that point. I'm like, oh no. It's way better in this car here. It feels smooth. I haven't had any issues with the handoff or anything like that. It's been real nice to live with, drive around town, and then getting on some back roads and just absolutely pinning the throttle. It's still really quick. You just have to go into buying this with those pieces of information known, that it's going to be heavy, yes, it's going to feel pretty numb and isolated, but it's just a result of the M5 continue to evolve kind of on that trajectory that we've been going through from generation to generation. It's been a bigger, I guess, divergence from the existing ethos of previous ones than prior, right? So it's been a bigger split off from the F90, F10, and so forth, but it's still so impressively quick. It's so ridiculous, and the buyers of these cars, the ones that I know at least personally, they're still all in. Let's talk about the price and wrap up some final thoughts on the new G90 M5. So the new M5 has a base price of right around $120,000, but this one has some options to note, including the BMW individual Santorini blue paint, which is $5,000. We have some carbon fiber, the driver assistance package, and carbon ceramic brakes, which are $8,500. So this one has been optioned to $146,000. But how does that compare with other options on the market? We currently do not have a new generation E63S AMG. Mercedes has not given us one, but they do still have the GT 4-door AMG versions. Those are going to be a bit more expensive. The Audi RS7 and RS6 are kind of the options that come to mind immediately as a competitor with the M5, Audi's version of this kind of formula. But the RS6, RS7 Performance, they're kind of still the carryover of the previous generation, whereas this M5 is like the newest, latest one with more of the hybrid stuff, more tech interior. The RS6, RS7 Performances, they're like $128,000, $130,000. So compared to the Audi versions, I think this M5 actually stands to be a decently good value, because you just get more weight, yeah, not that much more. The RS6, RS7, they're like 5,000 pounds, so 400 pounds more, but you also get a lot more power. But you have the plug-in hybrid, flexibility, functionality, the new interior, the tech, things like that. And you can now get the M5 as a touring, a wagon version, so we have a direct competitor with the RS6 Avant. Now, if we look at Porsche, they have the Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid, exceptionally long name for a vehicle, but similar powertrain formula, V8 twin turbo, plug-in hybrid setup. I think it's plug-in, but anyways, hybridized, a lot more power and quicker, way quicker, like 0 to 60 in, I think they say 2.8 seconds, Porsche doing Porsche things, right? But it has a very similar curb weight, and I don't remember people losing their minds about how heavy that Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid was. That being said, it's also way more expensive. So Porsche doing Porsche things, it's faster and everything. It probably drives a bit better. It's been many years since I drove a Turbo SE Hybrid, not the latest gen, previous gen one. I did get to try out, and it was impressive. But it's like $220-something thousand starting price. So that's essentially $100,000 more than the M5. So is it a good value? It's hard. I mean, anything this expensive, it's like, oh yeah, you're getting a great bargain. But you do get a lot for your money. A lot for your money. And to be fully honest, this thing really grew on me this week. And if I had the disposable income and I wanted a super fast daily driver, I would really consider getting this. I think compared to the RS6, RS7, I would rather an M5 or an M5 Touring. Mercedes doesn't have an option for us, and I don't like the GT 4-door. I don't like the looks of that one. I'm sure it drives fantastic, but and the Porsche is so much more expensive. So it's competitive value-wise, I think. And also, if you think about the fact that you can load an M3 up to like low $100,000 range, right? Like those smaller segment cars are getting really expensive, and that's an inline six. This has a twin turbo V8 still, right? So it's very intriguing when you think about it. What do you guys think? Is this too expensive? Is it a great bargain? I actually think it's not bad, and a lot of people I know who are thinking about buying one, they're still going to buy one. Now, final thoughts. What has it been like to live with? This is a very, very controversial car. It's been very interesting seeing the Instagram DMs, the comments, people asking me, friends reaching out because of the weight. That's the biggest thing, right? The biggest, pun sort of intended. Now, it is very, very heavy, and there's a valid point that also adds to wear and tear. Your tires are probably, you're going to chew through tires faster. It's hard to justify weight, and it's because they put such a big battery pack into it to get that decent electric range. The hybrid system, I think, was like 800 pounds on its own. So, I mean, it's 1,000-something pounds heavier than the previous gen. The rest of the formula hasn't changed that much. Yeah, it's bigger, but that doesn't account for 1,000-plus pounds of weight gain. It is the hybrid system. So, for purists, this is not going to make them happy. You will not be happy. If you have an E39 M5 in the garage, and that's what you think about when you think about the BMW M5, you are never going to love this car. But if we think about what the M5 is now representing as just a tech-filled, luxury-filled rocket ship, a missile, this thing is a freight train on the road, then it makes more sense. One of my friends said they should have called it the M7 because it's like a 7 Series but M version, and there is absolutely truth to that. This thing would demolish miles, and the speeds that it gets up to is rather astonishing, and it's very isolated and just easy, effortless. I think the hybrid integration is pretty good, better than the XM when I drove that. I haven't noticed any like clunkiness or weird transition period. The brakes seem fine. You can change your level of regen braking. I turn it all the way down because I don't like the feeling of regen braking, especially in a car like this. But it grew on me a lot. The looks are also controversial. And a lot of people saying they don't like the way it looks on the internet. But everybody I brought it to in person, we're like, that actually looks pretty good. The color helps. A lot of people really like this color scheme. It is bold, Santorini blue over orange leather. And it looks grew on me. It definitely is girthy looking, right? It has presence for sure. But I personally have started to really like the looks of this. I actually like the i5. When I had an i5, I was like, ooh, I actually really enjoyed it. So I gotta say, I'm impressed this week with the M5. This was probably unfairly hated upon. It's just the fact that the clientele and the needs of the market are shifting away. And to be fully honest, I don't know how many people who are losing their minds on the internet actually ordered one, right? I think it carries much more weight if you, another weight pun, if you put money down at your dealership, you were planning on ordering an M5, then you saw it, then you drove it and goes, I don't want it, right? Those are the actual buyers and clientele that they're speaking with their money. Yeah, I would daily one of these, I think, if I lived here. Now, if I lived in Southern California with amazing canyon driving roads, anywhere with mountains and curvy roads, I would probably want something a bit more nimble for my daily. But living in Michigan, where we just want something that bombs down the freeway without a problem, right? You're commuting every day in this type of thing. Yeah, I do like it. I like it. One other final thing. I'm pretty sure I saw people putting these on the dyno, and BMW is catastrophically underrating the power that this thing makes. Like, I saw people making well over 750 wheel horsepower. Actually, the one I drove previously with an exhaust on it, they dynoed it, and just with a catback exhaust, no tune, nothing else, they hit a peak 791 wheel horsepower. So BMW, I think, is being very conservative with the power numbers, which does translate to how it feels once you're rolling. It is slower on paper 0 to 60 because you have so much more of that inertia and weight to overcome. So initially, off the line, yeah, okay, it's going to feel slower than the previous gen M5 comp and CS and so forth. But once you're moving, freight train is a great analogy for this thing. It just goes. It goes and goes and goes and goes. And I did, allegedly, 100, we'll call it 155 kilometers an hour, I think. And it could have kept pulling. It would have just kept going and going. Like, there was no let off in the power. I let off because road, right? So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Hope you guys enjoyed this video living with the new G90 M5. Comment below, are you still catastrophically upset? Have you reevaluated your opinions on the new M5? Do you think it's worthy of being an M5, or should they have badged it an M7? They wouldn't have actually done that, but it's been really, really cool getting to drive this thing, and it definitely won me over. Hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Thanks for watching.